urbanization affected the rate of global warming? As city populations continue to increase, urbanization is decreasing air quality while increasing temperature ranges that is having a lasting impact on citizens and wildlife. Urbanization, such as pollution and the infrastructure that goes along with it, is increasing temperature changes in streams, as well as increasing forest loss and corrupting weather patterns. The Environmental Protection Agency, which is a government agency that strives to protect human and environmental health, claims that urbanization can result in high stream temperatures, especially in the summer. This can lead to a risk of harming aquatic life, such as coral reefs, which are essential for hosting shelter for many aquatic species, as well as protecting reefs from harsh coastlines. And as you can see in the picture on the top, due to the warm water climates, the coral reefs are shrinking and losing their color, which can have negative effects on the animals that live there. And then urbanization also causes deforestation. And Margaret Thatcher, who was the UN Prime Minister from 1975 to 1990, says that every year an area of forest equal to the whole surface of the UK is destroyed, and by 2000, we will have lost 65% of the forest in humid tropical zones. And although this source is old, it is showing that back in the 2000s, it was expected to lose that much, so we can only imagine how many we've lost in 2019. With trees being torn down specifically to build infrastructure that fuels urbanization, it will have a lasting impact on humans' daily lives. Forests play a critical role in human life as they provide many essential ecosystem services. Forests are critical for watershed protection, as well as preventing erosion and, ironically, lessening climate change. Without forests, CO2 would not be absorbed and oxygen would not be released, and I will state later how that has a negative effect on society. And then this is just a picture of the effect of deforestation, as you can see. And lastly, urbanization also corrupts weather patterns. Sue Grimmed, who is an urban meteorology professor at the University of Reading, says that buildings and roads changes the biology of the surface and alters energy, as well as water exchange and airflow. So this is basically saying that heat is being absorbed by the roads, which can then lead to high air temperatures, and that can lead to drought, heat waves, and ruthless downpours, which can put a limit on farming. Urbanization also has many societal risks. Mark Montgomery, who was a population researcher on the United States National Academy of Science panel, says that by 2050, fully 2/3 of the UN's inhabitants will likely live in urban areas. And this is showing that if more places start to become urbanized, it will have a negative effect on the environment, as I stated previously. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, also says that heat stroke deaths from 1979 to 2010 neared almost 8,000 Americans were killed, and this shows the deadly effect that heat waves have on Americans' daily lives. And a major contribution to global warming due to urbanization is transportation, such as buses and taxis and cars. Deborah Gordon, who is a senior associate at Energy and Climate Program at Carnegie Endowment and International Peace, says that cars produce fossil fuels that are main contributors to global warming. And it is estimated that there are 13,000 licensed taxi cabs in New York City, as you can see in the picture. And trees absorb CO2 that are emitted from cars, so if trees are being torn down, you can only imagine how bad the air quality that people in urbanized places are breathing. And then this is a graph from the EPA that shows the Earth's temperature, surface temperature from 19,000, and is predicted from 2000 to 2020, and this is through 48 states. And as you can see, around 2012 to 2014, it's very high. So in conclusion, there are many possible solutions that can be taken to just try to halt urbanization so that global warming can reduce. The first one is getting more bike lanes in cities and around college campuses so that people with bikes may be more encouraged to ride them to school or work or nights out. However, the limitations to this is some people fear getting to work they would look unprofessional as well as getting to school. And some people are also just not as in shape as others and cannot physically ride bikes. A more plausible solution is getting more energy efficient appliances for people living in urbanized areas, such as refrigerators, dishwashers, washers and dryers. And one way you can tell if an appliance is energy efficient is through the Energy Star logo. And by using energy efficient appliances, it can keep close to 2 billion tons of CO2 out of the air. Some people don't think that global warming is a big issue. However, if people continue to if people who live in urbanized areas do not take action, future generations will not know the world as it was years ago. And that's my website.
Okay, a couple of questions for you. The first one is, how did you select strategies you use to gather information or conduct research, and do you think they were effective?
So I really wanted to stay focused on the topic of urbanization. So all of my research, the first strategy I used is just to find out how big urbanization is getting in future years, and also how big of a deal global warming is. So I put those two together, and that's how I came up with the strategy of doing that.
And do you feel like your strategies were effective?
I do. I feel like it really made the topic focused more, so that I didn't go off topic.
Okay, and then your second question is, what advice would you have for other researchers who consider this topic?
I would say that first off, they need to be very involved in global warming. If that's not something you're into, I would choose a different topic. But I would focus more on one aspect of global warming, like what fuels it. I chose urbanization, but there's other things such as nuclear warfare and just other environmental factors.
Thank you.